Eagle Communications is your ultimate business partner. We provide business class phone with customizable features and fast, reliable internet. Your knowledgeable team at Technology Solutions has a broad base of IT services to meet your needs. Let the experts at Marketing Solutions get your message to the right people on the best platforms. The only piece missing is your business. Call Eagle Communications today at 877-61-EAGLE.
Eagle Community Television presents Community Connection with your host, Mike Cooper.
Welcome again to another Community Connection from the studios of Eagle Community Television. Thanks as always to the producer, editor, and camera for our series, Brandon Cooley. We're in the studios with Fort Hays State Graduate Assistant for Sexual Assault and Student Prevention, the Conduct Office at Fort Hays State University, Amy Gildemeister. Amy Gildemeister, Graduate Assistant for Sexual Assault Prevention and Student Conduct in the Office of Transition and Student Conduct, was recently announced as the 2018 National Outstanding Graduate Student of the Year. Congratulations,
Thank you
Amy.
so much.
That's quite an honor to bring to Fort Hays State University.
Absolutely.
And to the office. Goodland High School graduate majoring in education, our community connection. Well, let's start first of all with the basics, Amy. Tell us about the Office of Transition and Student Conduct. What's its purpose? What do you do?
Really, the purpose is kind of in the name. Our big focus is transition, so we help freshman students who are coming to college and also transfer students make that transition from wherever they were before to a new college atmosphere. There are a lot of ways we do that through orientation, parent and family days, commuter student lounges. So there's a lot of ways that we help them transition. And then we also do have to handle the conduct cases that happen on our campus. So that is the unfortunate part of our job, but it has to happen. So it's
a dual purpose,
basically. Oh yeah, for
then,
sure.
Huh? So what are some of the issues that students might have in a transition, either coming from high school to a college atmosphere, or transferring from a different university or college to Fort Hays State?
I think a lot of the transition kind of issues we have, a lot of people get homesick. You have those students who are leaving their house for the first time, leaving their parents, and they go back home every weekend and they just never fully acclimate to campus. So that's something we try to have activities and programs for them to attend over the weekend specifically so that they stay here. We also have people who just maybe aren't ready for college, or maybe college isn't right for them, and that's okay too.
I would think that homesickness and maybe not being quite ready for college would be two of the major issues.
Yep.
Now, student conduct, a lot of things involved there too.
Yeah, my office mainly deals with the academic misconduct, so things like plagiarism, illegal downloading is actually a really big one. If you illegally download a movie or song, our office gets notified right away, and internet to that student gets shut down until they come see us.
How about that?
Yeah.
Wow, that's something we wouldn't have thought about 10 years ago.
Yeah,
probably.
right, I know.
Right? So your work then as a graduate assistant in the Office of Student Conduct, what does that involve? What do you do?
I have two roles in my position. So I do sexual assault prevention for our campus, as well as some student conduct. I take some cases, but that's not the majority of my job. I would say going and talking to students, doing some programming about sexual assault, gender-based violence, I would say that's probably the main part of my job.
Sexual assault prevention has certainly become much more in the forefront, I think, these days. Talk about that a little bit more, would you? Some of the things that you do to facilitate this education process for men and women on campus.
Absolutely. The big thing is partnerships on campus. We have a new Title IX coordinator this year, Dr. Teresa Clounge, and we have a compliance officer who also does this type of work. So we partner a lot with those two people, and we just go out and talk to students. We go to classrooms. We go to every freshman has to take freshman seminar. It's kind of like how to succeed in college. And we go and talk to every single one of those freshman seminar students, talk to them at orientation, and we just try to reach out as much as we can.
What are some of the keys to sexual assault prevention, Amy?
First and foremost is just knowing what it is. Just trying to get the terms out there and recognizing what constitutes those different things. Because there are a lot of times what we're seeing is they are understanding what the term is, but when it comes to a real life situation, they kind of brush it off like, oh, it's maybe not as bad as I think it is.
When does just a simple association or relationship turn into a sexual assault situation?
The big thing there is consent. Anytime, even in a relationship, anytime somebody says, stop, no, I don't want to do this, that's the point. And if the activity goes farther than that, past that, is really when it gets to be a dangerous situation.
Well, of course, one of the things that many of us would like to know is how prevalent is it? Is it on the increase, decrease, or have you been able, through the education process of reaching these students, to be able to dial back the instances?
I've only been in this role for 2 years, so I have about 2 years experience. But I would say it seems like it's happening more and more, but it's really not the case. People are just talking about it more, and people are more likely to report, which makes our statistics maybe not look as great, but for me that's a great thing because people are feeling safe enough to come and talk to us about it.
It really furthers your opportunity in education if it's out in the open and people are talking about it.
Absolutely.
Tell me about the experience at Goodland High School. You're a graduate, majoring in education. How did the high school experience go for you?
You know, Goodland's a small town, so you got to stay busy. I did all the sports that I could. I doubled up on some of them. And
favorites?
Favorites, I would say volleyball was probably. I liked watching football, so that was great. It was the same kind of season, but yeah, I would definitely say volleyball was my favorite. Cheerleading second favorite. So.
And in high school, had you already determined that maybe education was where you wanted to be?
I was probably the farthest thing from education that you could get.
Oh, really?
I was a geography major, switched to criminal justice, kind of my first semester there, and then from criminal justice found victim advocacy, which has kind of led me to where I'm at today.
Tell me about future plans. What do you think? You mentioned criminal justice as part of that, opportunities, doors that might open for you. What are future plans, you think?
For me, really, just I'm staying in Hayes for sure. I've found Hayes to be my home, so I would love to work on the campus. I've got some interviews coming up, but yeah, I'm very open. I've thought about working at Options for CASA, and there's a lot of agencies in Hayes that could help me.
And of course, continuing your education role with students perhaps on campus if one of those interviews comes to fruition, for sure.
Yeah.
This award that Amy received was given by the American College Personnel Association, College Student Educators International, Commission on Admissions, Orientation, and First Year Experience. Presented a full-time graduate student or graduate assistant studying at a master's or doctoral level. So there's more education ahead for you, apparently, then, Amy.
There might be. It's been considered, getting my doctorate, but we'll see.
Tell me about your influences, perhaps, teachers, associations you've had. Who were some influences for you, Amy?
I feel I've been really blessed to have a lot. In my undergraduate experience, I had Kenton Russell and April Terry. They were kind of my big influences in my undergrad, were very supportive of my decisions to go to grad school. And I feel like now probably my biggest cheerleader is Brett Bruner, my supervisor. But I have to give a special shout out to Keegan Nichols. She's the one who introduced me to the program and got me to where I am. So
Yeah, names we know well for sure.
Yeah,
that
sure.
really mentor students for sure. In that transition, your own experience from Goodland High School to Fort Hays State, did you find support? Did you find the types of things that you hope to be able to do with the Office of Transition and such for new students coming in that might have been from small high schools and then going to this college experience?
yeah, I really think I did. I came to orientation as a freshman, and I was nervous. I was the firstborn in my family, so I didn't know what I was doing, but the orientation leaders there, which is part of our office, orientation, they were really helpful, and they were like, yeah, I'm from a small town too. This is great. Like, it's so much better. And so that really kind of gave me the confidence to go and meet new people and try some new things.
Did in feedback, were you able to find in your orientation whenever you came in as a freshman, some of those things that really connected with you that you could then tell your supervisors now that, hey, this really works as far as these new students coming in, and I really related to it, and I think they would too?
Yeah, definitely. I actually got to move in early as a part of a learning community, and that, I think, really jump-started my college career, and our office kind of handles those too. So that is something that I definitely advocate for. I definitely kind of push for. If they're if students are on the fence about joining one or not, I can give them my own personal experience and maybe help them out when they come to college. Kind
of get you a head start, if you will, before the real campus year begins, when you're trying to find out, where your classes are and all of the other things going on and what kind of paperwork you need and so forth. Gives you a little heads up and a head start, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it actually, for me, the biggest thing was I was worried about having friends. I left all my friends in Goodland or wherever they went to, and so that the learning community gave me 15 friends that I had certain classes with, took classes with them, and got a jump start on that. So
on an immediate basis.
Yeah, absolutely.
This award is going to be presented to Amy at the ACPA Annual Convention in Houston, March 11 through March 13. What are you expecting from the convention? This will be your first appearance, I guess, right?
Yeah, it'll be my first time, so I'm very excited. It's in Houston this year, so I don't know what to expect. I've been to conferences before, and I've always come back with a lot more knowledge and ideas to bring back to campus, so I'd love to have some ideas on just how to better my program and better myself, so I'm looking forward to that.
Now, is this going to be a nationwide event that will bring people from all over the United States?
Yeah, this is their annual conference, so a lot of associations have regional conferences. This is their big convention.
Networking and presentations and chances to talk to people who have had similar experiences from universities of all sizes, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's a really interesting experience to hear from people that you would have never met otherwise. So,
well, congratulations on 2018 National Outstanding Graduate Student of the Year.
Thank you very much.
A very nice honor, and I'm glad you took the time to share it with us. Fort Hays State Graduate Assistant for Sexual Assault Prevention and Student Conduct, Amy Gildemeister, our Community Connection.
Eagle Communications is your complete business solution with options to fit any budget. We provide business class phone with customizable features and fast, reliable internet. Your knowledgeable team at Technology Solutions has a broad base of IT services to meet your needs. Let the experts at Marketing Solutions get your message to the right people on the best platforms. Eagle Communications will build your personalized business plan. Call us at 877-61-EAGLE.
It's time to explore the great indoors.
Pirates ahead, all hands on deck and ready the cannons.
Where imagination has no boundaries.
And then the princess rode the dragon.
And fun is limitless.
Captain, we're ready for liftoff.
Explore the great indoors with Eagle Communications, with TV and internet starting at $84.99 for 2 years.
Welcome to Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. Thanks for watching, and thanks as always to the editor, producer, and behind the camera work of Brendan Cooley. We're in the studios of Eagle Community Television with Assistant Director of the Fort Hays State University Memorial Union and University Activities Board Advisor, Jacob Ternes, as we talk about the Memorial Union and the role of the UAB. Let's start, if we could, with this. 16 representatives from Fort Hays State University's Activities Board recently attended the National Association for Campus Activities Central Regional Conference in Oklahoma City and came back with a whole handful of awards during that, which is part of what we wanted to talk to Jacob about on our Community Connection at this time. Let's start with a basic though, Jacob, if we could. What's the role of the University Activities Board?
Sure. So the purpose of the University Activities Board is to develop programs for our constituents, students, faculty, staff, and then community members, invited guests. So it's made up of 7 selected and hired student officers, and then we have a large pool of student volunteers that make that happen as well. But we select programs, we bring events to campus, whether that's entertainment events, lectures, music events, interactive programming, so fun, educational, engaging, all of that stuff.
For a wide audience, from students to the community at large.
That's correct, yeah. So most of our events are open to the public, which is great. Obviously we give students first priority because it's student run and associated with the university, but we really accept anybody that wants to attend.
How about the students that are involved? Who are some of the ones who work at the University Activities Board? What's kind of their mix, if you will, Jacob?
Sure. So our different officers, we were led by a student president, so he's kind of in charge of making sure the machine runs, and I advise him every single week. And his name is Trey Bossa, so he's responsible for leading the board. And then we've got different event programmers. Jacob and Jesse do our entertainment and our music events. We have students who are in charge of advertising, students who are in charge of membership engagement, so that's Jesse Schoenfeld and Dane Mertzen. And then wrapping it all up, we've got our mini events, which is more of the interactive stuff. We do crafts and DIY projects, that's Madeline, and then our secretary treasurer who kind of keeps us all organized is Kelly. So really, board of 7 students, and they're all really engaged.
Boy, and student focus too for this organization.
That's right, yep. Yeah, so we have myself and a graduate advisor, Zach Schinkel, and then really other than that, it's student run. I mean, it's they make the decisions, they make things happen.
I want to brag on them a little bit too, because as I said, when you came home from that regional conference in Oklahoma City, you brought a handful of awards. Talk about those.
We did, and honestly, I think the thing I'm most proud of with these awards is because of Fort Hays' total enrollment, we're competing in the largest category. So in our region, we're competing against Oklahoma State, K-State, KU.
Oh, wow.
We're competing against the big schools. So I think that's most impressive about what we're able to do. So we did. We had several publication awards, so like what we're doing to get the advertisement out about our programs. Our designers design great posters for us. We had an event called Guardians of the After Dark, and we did a whole advertising campaign tied to that Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So we won an award for that. And then our students are just such great representatives of the university. The individuals at the conference voted on the best on-site delegation, so the most friendly, the most engaging, the most involved, and Fort Hays brought that home as well.
That's certainly got to be one of the most important to you, I would think, as an advisor for this group of students then. There's one award that Jacob forgot to mention though, and that was the NACA Central Outstanding New Professional Award, which was awarded to UAB advisor Jacob Ternes. Congratulations on that award.
Thank you.
Can I show that, one of those examples of that poster that you're talking about, your design group? That's amazing. This shows probably just a few of the active. This is just spring, isn't it?
Yep, that's just spring. So we put out a big poster like this every single year, and That's a selection, not even everything that our activities board is doing, but that's what our spring semester looks like. So, and they're all color coded. So if it's a lecture, it's one color, and if it's a movie, it's one color, and so it's eye catching, and then you can kind of get some information out of it right away.
Oh, that's amazing. And if folks want more information in the community at large, or for those on campus, where can they go to?
Yeah, so we have our university website, so fhsu.edu, and then we're /UAB. And then from that link, you can get a little more information about the activities board, but there's also an events calendar. It doesn't look exactly like this when you click on it on the website, but that events calendar link will get you to all of this information of date, time, location, and what we're bringing to campus.
Wow. And a lot of these film screening, Mean Girls, Jammin' Into Summer, Friday Film Works, Amanda Vernon, Chris Jones, Canvas Art, Stuff a Tiger, Austin Moot. Goodness, it just goes on and on.
It does, yeah, and a big variety. I mean, the things you mentioned were music and a festival and movies and a hypnotist and a comedian, and so it's really a great variety of things that this board is able to bring.
So, how are these events chosen?
So our students are in charge. Like I said, we've got our 7 selected officers, and that NACA, National Association of Campus Activities, we go to a regional conference in the fall and then the national conference in the spring. And that's where a lot of these acts are showcased, and we're able to interact with the agents and interact with the performers themselves. And then those 7 students who attend the conference bring all of that information back. And we have just about 50 students, general members, who are involved, and they get to make the decisions. They say, this is what we like, this is what we don't like, we need a better variety of lecturers, or we need to do something educational, and they make all those decisions, and I just kind of guide them through the process,
So it really is student driven, isn't it,
Absolutely,
Jacob?
yeah.
What criteria is used to encourage student involvement? Because you have to have the students show up for these events to make them viable. To schedule future events. What are some criteria that might be used for your group of advisors?
Yeah, so for our 7 students, they are selected and hired. They actually get paid, one position is 5 hours a week, most of them are 10 hours a week. So they, in order to be selected, they have to maintain a grade point average above a 2.5, because academics is important first, and if they can't be successful academically, we know that we don't want to take their energy away from that. So that's the big criteria for those officers, and then we have a full application process and interview them, and then general members or general students can just choose to come to the meeting. So every Tuesday at 4:30 down in our office in the lower level of the union, a general student can come and voice their opinion. And then to be a member, actually go from just showing up to being a member of the organization, you have to have attended at least 2 meetings a semester and volunteered at least one of our events. So been a person that worked the event itself.
You're really encouraging students to get involved, aren't you, with an open session at meetings to come and give us your opinions then?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is open to anybody who wants to come, but our focus is students. We're funded by student fees. That student voice is so important, because if I'm deciding, the things that I think are cool or interesting are not the same things that an 18-year-old thinks are cool or interesting. So, obviously we want to invest our time and energy into programs that students want and students will participate in.
Well, and then you have to start thinking about community events as well that are going to attract the community at large, again, to help with the funding process.
Yeah, and so really, the community engagement is great. I think anything that we can do to strengthen the connection between Fort Hays State University and the Hays community is important. And so the fact that our events are free and open to the public and encouraged to come. Now, obviously there's some limitations, like Stuff a Tiger is one. We have a limited amount of tigers available, and so students are always going to get first preference for that. But to come and enjoy a music show, those community members are more than welcome. And unless it's somebody really famous that we have to supplement that budget with, we really never charge admission.
And I can remember way back when, in the early days, back when there were 2 buildings on campus, I think, and the community picnic took place at the very start of the year, which was really our introduction to Fort Hays State University. And from that, it's just, continued.
Yep, yeah, the back to school picnic still happens every year on the first day of school. The University Activities Boards is one of the sponsors of that. It's kind of managed out of the Memorial Union, the Center for Student Involvement down in the lower level. But yeah, that's a great way to bring businesses to campus and different groups and showcase everything that's available both on campus and in the community. And we see 1,000 students come through that program every year.
I'm glad you mentioned the Memorial Union, because I don't think we could be more proud, regardless of what university we might have been from, than our Memorial Union now, and the beauty of it and the functionality of it, Jacob.
It is. It's a great space. You know, if you look at the mission of the union, we're kind of the living room of campus. You know, we're that gathering space for students, for community members, and so there's always something going on. You know, there's food options, there's music, there's the massage chairs which you can just sit down and relax. You know, students study in there, students come to meet. It's a great space.
And study areas as well, of course, obviously. So how'd you get involved with the student activities and university activities board and such? What's your story?
Yeah, so I'm actually a Kansas local, but I'm a graduate of Emporia State, so hopefully people won't hold that against me. But I came up in student involvement through my fraternity experience, and then post-graduation I was able to work as a consultant and get a little more advising experience working with different student groups across the country. Came back to Kansas, was a graduate of K-State, and then I've been at Fort Hays ever since. So this is, I'm in my 5th year at Fort Hays now, and so a transplant to this community, but I really enjoy being here and everything that we do. So the first 3 years I was at Fort Hays, I was the coordinator of student involvement. I worked with student organizations and fraternities and sororities. And for the past 2 years, I've switched gears over to our activities board, and then I also work with our Encore performing arts series.
But that also gave you a very good insight into the community and the campus at large for those 3 years that you were working with those organizations and fraternities and sororities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ever since I've been here at Hays, I've just felt, you know, it's just a very welcoming place. The university, the community, I'm involved in the Hays Area Young Professionals, and so, you know, having that opportunity to be involved on campus and do all that we do and also be a member of the community is really great.
And we can't let you go without talking about Encore, obviously, one of the premier events at Fort Hays State on a yearly basis, memberships from hundreds of people.
Yeah. So the Beach Schmidt Performing Arts Center is a wonderful venue on campus. UAB gets to utilize it as well, but Encore is really something special that we get to do. And that venue holds just over 1,100 people, and we sell 770 season passes every year. So 70% of that venue is full by people who want to participate in every single show throughout the year. We get to bring in great titles like this year with Dirty Dancing, and then just last week, Wizard of Oz. Last night, actually, we had Dance Theater of Harlem in that space. And so it's a great program. And that is really a community university connection, because so many of those season ticket holders are community members.
And as most of us are aware, I think, Jacob, the ticket price for either an individual performance or the Encore series over the semester, or the year, I should say, is far less. The overall ticket price for an entire season is probably less than what you would pay in a larger city for 1 or 2 venues.
That's right. So, I mean, take example, our 2 large musicals, Dirty Dancing and Wizard of Oz, those have all been on Broadway. If you would have seen those performances on Broadway, you would have paid more to see just those 2 shows than you pay for our entire season to see 8 shows. So you get those 2 musicals plus the music and the dance and the theater that we're able to incorporate throughout the season.
UAB, the programming organization for the Fort Hays State student body, sponsors a wide variety of entertainment, programs, and events to encourage campus involvement. And the NACA Central Outstanding New Professional Award going to the Assistant Director of the Memorial Union, Jacob Ternes, our community connection.
Hi, I'm Gary Shorman, President and CEO of Eagle Communications, a 100% employee-owned company. I'd like to personally thank you for selecting Eagle for your internet, television, and telephone service. By choosing Eagle, you're choosing to keep your dollars local with a company that reinvests back in your community. Let's make this a great year for your community. Check us out at eaglecom.net. Eagle Communications, our community connected.